Kyle, this is the best team you've had since you've been the head coach of the 49ers. Really has no weaknesses compared to other teams. The expectation is that you are going to win the Super Bowl. And if you don't, you can't just point the finger at your quarterback like you could with Jimmy Garoppolo, because Brock Purdy's really good. So the pressure's on you, Kyle, to deliver a Super Bowl trophy while coaching the best roster in football, because you're a really good coach. Sometimes you overthink things. So we got to make sure you get out of your own way and allow the best team in football to do its thing. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of these tournaments where this one should be real easy for you. At some point, you're going to have to put the boys in the best stuff that they like to do. Yeah. But really, you should be able to let the best players shine on the field, right? And if you automatically know that there's a talent gap in the teams that you're facing throughout the playoffs, let that be the priority. Let that be the light of how you put together your game plan. Okay. Put these boys in the best positions to be better than the guys that they're playing. All right. Don't strap them to scheme. Don't strap them to process. Right. Yeah. These guys need to be given. This is the time where in the playoffs, the boys should be getting the best of what they do. Yeah. Right. Because you got to be able to pump your guys up. You got to be Bundini on this one. You got to pump them up. You got to scream in their ears and let them know that they're the warriors of the universe and that they can handle anything and run through walls, man. That's your job, okay? But if you get them believing in game plans, all right, then you got to understand that how fast you switch into a new game plan is your strength, all right? Not contemporaneous coaching, because that's what you haven't done throughout the year. And at this stage of the game, it's all about process. It's what you got used to. So if you're going to put together a game plan, my man, have some other contingencies put up where you can slip right into something else. All right. But we don't want to see a game plan that we see start from the beginning of the game. Then we see go still. Then we see get found out and is not working. And then we see the entire thing fall apart. So your true time to get tagged into this entire endeavor is when you got to start adjusting on the fly. And that's the biggest thing that we need to see out of you, man. Like, honestly, like after all of the narratives, all of the back and forth, the quarterback stuff, the wins and losses, the wins from behind, whatever, all of this stuff that we do to virtue signal to the fact that you're not doing one thing, and that's coaching in front of us. Yeah. You got to coach in front of us. That's it. Like, you can't always prepare the meal in the kitchen. Sometimes you're going to have to do something in front of us. And that's what we want to see. We want to see you coach in front of us. All right. So, and that's adjusting. That's going to happen in the game, because that's what winning is all about. And that's what's going to be called to you, man. No free rides, man. No free meals.
Yeah, I don't even know, Kyle, if you're going to need to make mid-game adjustments in the NFC playoffs. You may cruise, but like what I'm concerned about with you is what you did against Dallas last year in the playoffs. You remember what you did, okay? You're better than Dallas, but you came into that game and you have a tendency, Kyle, and look, I have the same tendency. I think you and I are very similar, but we like to call attention to ourselves. I think sometimes with you, Kyle, it's not enough to win the game. You have to be recognized as one of the driving forces behind the win. It wasn't just the players. It wasn't just the overwhelming talent advantage that the 49ers have. It was also Kyle. It was his genius. It was his cleverness. It was your cleverness. And so that's great, man. It's great that you have that ability, that you can outcoach some of the best coaches in the league. But what you did against Dallas was you had an overly cute game plan with a bunch of like gadget runs, and your players had to come to you mid-game and say, hey, can we just line up and beat this team? We don't have to trick this team. We don't have to outthink this team. We could just line up and beat them. And that's your job. Get out of the way. It's not about you. Because if this team wins the Super Bowl and you're not dazzling people like the all 22 watchers with your play design, it doesn't matter. You still get the credit. You get the credit for winning the Super Bowl, man. You don't have to dazzle us along the way with your like guitar solos, or I think of him as like the dude in the jazz quartet who just milks his moment, man. It's like,
I gotta get my solo. I gotta get my encore solo.
It's not about you, man. Fall back. Just Just play the bass. Just play the freaking drums. Keep the freaking rhythm, please.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, this is just going to be, and it's going to be very noticeable because when things are going well, it's a very familiar aroma, right? It smells the same way every time they win, right?
Yeah.
They get up big.
They score in their first drive.
The lead is working. They're up. They're playing complementary football. Ergo, it takes the run game away from the team that we're facing. So they don't ever get to get our defense on the field long. Our defense gets to pin their ears back. Trent Williams has his gloves off by the end of the third. The game is over. They're up by 10. They could have been up by 20, but we saw the blunders, but nobody talks about it because we won and scored 30 points. And we end up talking about how masterful the game plan was because truthfully, the game was over before it ended, right? And that's the aroma of how the Niners win. Truthfully, like that's how we've won games, right?
Yeah.
But we need to see something different, man. I got to be able to see it when it's like, okay, they got our number. They got enough dogs. There's no weaknesses on the field that we can just take advantage of all day. Let's see how the boys play. This is good on good football. This is hat on the hat. Like the Ravens was good on good football.
Yeah. Kyle, this is where I think you get messed up. You're a really good coach, but sometimes you get caught up in the chess match with the defensive coordinator if you really respect him. So last year against Dan Quinn, you're like, oh man, we coached together. He knows my stuff. So you come into a game trying to break all these tendencies. It's like, nah, you don't need to do that. You have a better team than him. Just do what you do and don't worry about Dan Quinn. I think sometimes when you really respect a defensive coordinator, you try to break all your tendencies. Don't do that. That's a mistake. You have the best team. Coach it the way Harbaugh would coach it. One of the things I like most about Harbaugh as a coach is he doesn't flinch in those moments. He likes to beat you with his strength and not trick you because that's imposing your will. Impose your will, Kyle. That's a different side of you. Impose your will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Showtime 2118 says we like to debate who the MVP of the Niners is. Did Kyle tell us who he thinks the MVP is by choosing to play everyone and rest his star MVP quarterback? Well, Christian's not playing either. Showtime. You didn't think of that, did you?
2118.
Danny Gray playing. Excited to see Sam play. Are you? Danny Gray. I don't know if Danny Gray's playing.
Yeah, I would love to see Danny Gray play, but Sam is Sam.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about Sam playing.
Somebody put Sam Darnold, Chuck Norris.
What do you mean, as a picture?
No, like clickbait motorsports. His last comment.
Yeah. Ramilia Sports Report RSR says Rams want 7 seed play over rested Niners in first game. Okay. Well, I hope they get that 7 seed that they're playing for, man.
Yeah.
I think Kyle's going to have Sam sling it. What about you?
Yeah, he's going to do that. He's going to have him on full display.
And here's why. Here's why, Kyle, we're not done with you. We're not done with you. Here's why you're going to have Sam on full display. Because that calls attention to you. Because if Sam does well, it's not really about Sam. It's about you, Kyle. And if Sam does poorly, then it's, well, even Kyle Shanahan couldn't do anything with Sam Darnold. He tried. He's the best. So, Kyle, you're not slick. I know what you're doing. And I kind of appreciate it. But at the same time, you said a lot of stuff about Sam Darnold, man. So you better. Yeah, we'd like you to be right. We don't forget the things you said.
No, never forget the words that you said about Sam Darnold.